In the next 30 minutes or so, we'll be privileged to hear from Googlers across teams tell us their journeys, their stories of their lives that made them what they are. And let's give them a huge round of applause as they come on the stage and share their journeys with us. Please understand that today no one here is a Noogler, a manager or a G-Techer. We're all people with unique perspectives, unique stories and learnings, and we're all here to share with every one of us. So let's welcome Gautam Dhar, our first speaker for the session.
Check. Thank you, Varuna. Hi everybody, good afternoon and namaste. I am Gautam, and my story is not extraordinary in any way, but it has granted me three things: humility, dreams, and hope, that I found somewhere along the paths I took or I didn't. Although I belong to Kashmir, I grew up in a small town called Rural Uttarakhand. It's not too far from here, about 60 miles. Where one fine day when I was around 18, my father walks up to me and he says, "Hey Gautam, you will be going to US for higher studies for some scholarship." It was unexpected, bizarre and high voltage for somebody like me who had rarely ventured outside of Norfolk. I had rarely even visited Delhi up until then. But anyways, I went. Once I was in US, I had 3 jobs while I was studying, because scholarships, they don't pay the rent, they don't pay the food bills. So I put myself through college, experiencing an entirely new culture that I almost knew nothing about. It went on, and then I finished my business degree while working and continuing to stay in the snowy state of Michigan. That lasted about a decade. And after a decade, I switched coasts, and then I moved to California. That was when Google decided to pick me, or hire me. And like all Googlers, I was amazed. Google was my dream job. And just before Google, I was hired by Thomson Reuters. I had to lie to them why I was not joining them. But anyways, I had a wonderful time at the Googleplex. I was in the Mountain View office, learning and growing with the people, learning new things on the job, and experiencing the so-called Bay Area life. It was almost picture perfect, but there's something missing. Perhaps the taste of home, or the sight of Himalayas, which I often long for. In all of the time that I spent overseas, there was always a quest within me to find that one thing that would truly put my heart at rest. Not that I was restless, but you get the poetry. Or at least lead me to it. There was a silent roar, that's an oxymoron. There was a silent roar within me that would often tell me to get off the highways and get on the byways, take the road less traveled. That's becoming a very cliched line these days because I travel a lot. But the risk was too high. Leaving US after almost 14 years, I was 4.5 years in Google. And it was just too risky. In all of the 14 years I was in US, I don't think my spirit ever took roots in that alien land. The idea of returning back to India, back home, was almost always in the back of my mind. It started in 2005 when I saw 𝐒𝐨𝐶, for those of you who have seen it. That's when the seed was planted. And in 2012, I had this crazy idea that I would pack up my bags and I would come back home. Even if it meant walking away from Google, even if it meant leaving my fairly decent life in the Bay Area in the US. And as expected, my peers, they said, "Hey Gautam, I think you're rushing, you've lost your mind, you're nuts, you'll be back in 6 months," because remember, I had never worked in India. But anyways, there was a little voice inside me. It said, "It'll be all right." So come May of 2012, I booked for the first time in 14 years, I booked a one-way ticket back to India, and I was back home. With no more meetings, no more daily reminders, no more one-on-ones. I thought I was back to being a child of nature, roaming freely in the mountains that I always loved. I did some traveling, did some trekking, without that last day of vacation hanging on my shoulders. I hated that. And as a famous theologian, C.S. Lewis, once said that some journeys take us far from home and some adventures lead us to our destiny. Those are the words that I live by. Anyway, so I traveled, I discovered the undiscovered places that I always wanted to do. I volunteered in Delhi for about 3 to 4 months. I worked with a group of rural youth. I taught them English, I taught them music. I connected with a lot of people who would pass by that place. Made a lot of friends, met a few musicians, met different kinds of people. It was amazing. And just around that time, Google decided to pick me up once again, for the second time, in Hyderabad. For better or for worse, I think it's for better. Before it was too long, I realized that this was not something that I wanted to dive back into. So I risked burning all my bridges with Google, and I said, I don't want to do it. I walked away yet again. And I remember one of my coworkers from Mountain View said, hey Gautam, man, I don't think you should apply at Google again. I said, okay, that's fine. Anyways, so I continued traveling throughout India, did some more trekking, and I also survived a stampede, a fatal one for that, in the Mahakumbh Mela. That was that, but the next part of my life, which I want to speak to you about, is called 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐚𝐤𝐬. It's the name of an NGO out in Rural Uttarakhand, where I worked for about a year. I worked on a lot of different things. I designed websites for them. I worked out in the field with the village workers. We tracked the water bodies in the villages, and tons of different things. But the part that left a mark on me was the time when I spent teaching music to the primary school children there in the village. It was surreal, because back in college I was always fascinated with this image of me living out in the mountains teaching music to little kids. And back then, mind you, I didn't even know how to hold a guitar. I do now, fairly okay. But the experience was, I don't have a word for it. Sharing the village life with the locals, sharing dreams with the children, and sharing that trail that I still remember with jackals and one leopard that roamed freely at night. I saw him. I don't know if it was any of the ones also. But I thought it was surreal, because just about a year ago I was cruising down Highway 101. I was trying to get to Google Gurgaon, and now 1 year later I was standing by the side of the road trying to hitchhike, waiting for a jeep to come by. Life, I guess, had indeed come full circle. And just about then I met this doctor, this mountain goat, who was as crazy as I was. Perhaps more crazy than me. So we decided to get married. And that was around the time when Google came up to me and said, we want to hire you again for a third time. I don't know why. But, and that was in Gurgaon. So today I'm standing in front of all you amazing people, I won't use the word Googlers, telling you the story. More like sharing snippets from my dream that I've seen be often put aside, in exchange for other lucrative pathways. That's all right. But in my experience, that 1 year that I spent in that village has been the best year of my life. I learned things that I would never learn anywhere else, hands down. So that was my dream that had become a story. It has become a story. And as I like to say, my spirit's longing cry, perhaps these are the things that will never die. And in this session, if there is one thing that I want you to walk away with, is the notion that I believe resides in all of us, but maybe doesn't see the light of day for many people. No matter what the risk, if you have a dream, if there is something you want to do, go ahead and do it. Do not wait. Do not wait. That's what I did. If you dig it, you do it, and if you really dig it, you do it twice. And like my wife also, she always tells me that the greatest gift in life that we have is the wild spirit. That, that will die if untamed. And as I look back at this story, I'm always reminded of these lines from the great poem Invictus. For those of you who've seen the movie of Nelson Mandela. In the fell touch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you.